Yeah, it feels good. Air feels good. I like air. Air is a good thing.
Huh.
um, I need to see a visual though. I don't see a visual on my thing yet. I'm gonna have to see if this is happening or not. Maybe I have to refresh my YouTube thing because it's just showing a blank screen. That's no good. Let's go see. There should be content on there. There we go. Oh, now we see it. Okay, great. That means we can start. Okay. Um, Thanks for doing this again, Chris. This is great. Like, I appreciate you being here. Yeah. I'll,
Yeah, thanks for having me.
absolutely,
Appreciate it.
absolutely, absolutely. All right, we're gonna set you up at the top, folks. Let's do the thing. Here we go. Okay, here we come. What is up, everybody? Nice to see you again. My name is Dave Medina. You know me as Davey's eating a sandwich on all the various social media and communication platforms, including this one, YouTube, where we're doing our sandwich corner tonight. And those of you who are listening to us via your podcast player of choice are um, also have the privilege of enjoying our NBA conversations, and we have the privilege of having your support. So thank you very much for being here again tonight, everybody. Um, we've been doing really great things on Twitch. If you want to catch up on all the happenings there, you can go to my Twitch channel, Davey's Eating a Sandwich, on Twitch. And on Instagram, we can share what's been happening. A lot of great conversations, great interviews, really good stuff. But tonight, here in our special companion program, the Sandwich Corner, we're back to NBA talk. We are joined by Chris in Georgia. We are not joined by Tom in New Jersey. Tom had some family scenarios, so we're wishing our friend well and sending our best to the family too. But nothing super serious. Just things happening. So hopefully we'll get Tom back next week. And also next week we're gonna try to put together a PGA championship recap program on this podcast. So we'll try to get John and Mike and maybe even Andy back for that program, and then we'll do more basketball stuff with Chris and Tommy. But Chris, let's bring you back in. How's it going tonight? Welcome in. Good to see you here, and hope you're doing well.
I'm doing very well, thank you. I was kind of looking forward to having some of that big Nick energy from Tommy. I thought, I thought he was gonna carry us through with his enthusiasm for that win yesterday.
Oh, I
And
know it. I was looking forward to it too, so I'm a little bummed
yeah,
out, but it's all right. I mean, we'll have him back next time, and I think it'll be worth the wait. I mean, he's got to be feeling pretty good. I mean, it did look a little rough for a couple games when the Knicks were in Indiana. We'll get to that a little bit later. Um, yeah, but either way, it would have been great to chat with him tonight. But well, we'll have a shot at it next time. I mean, he seems really excited to be back on too, so that's the good thing. So let's get to it. So we have the Celtics to start with first, and the Celtics in their Eastern Conference semifinals. That'll be our topic tonight. We're covering all the conference semis, and this is the first series in the books, to my knowledge. The Celtics have
yep.
finished the Cavaliers, beating them 113-98 in Game 5 to win their series 4-1. And you can see here, it was everything I anticipated. I remember we made our predictions about the series last time we were on, and I said this is the series where the Cavs are going to be in probably every game, maybe pretty much every game, but it's still going to be a short series because the Celtics are just too stacked. And even some guys like Al Horford can turn back the clock and have one of his best games of his playoff career. What an incredible night for Horford, Chris.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, he made some just exciting plays, and he started off cold, which was kind of funny, but then he kept shooting and draining threes. And right before half, he made this nice play. The ball was going out of bounds, and he lunged and knocked it off of I can't even think of his name. Dean, what's his name? Can't think of his name now. On the Cavs. Anyways, he made a sensational play. Dean Wade. Dean Wade.
Dean Wade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it was it was one of those games where as a fan, you're just kind of watching like, okay, when's the kill shot gonna come? When's the kill shot gonna come? And give the Cavs credit, they played great. Boston's defense was lackluster. The offense was fine in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
but defense was lackluster. And if this felt like a game where having someone like Porzingis who could protect the rim would have been a big just a big addition. I mean, I think they really missed his defense, especially down low, because um, Mobley just had a sensational game and had some real easy baskets. So yeah, I'm glad they are back in this, the conference finals, and looking forward to. Hey, I'm looking forward to watching the next game. So, but I'm enjoying these playoffs so much. They've been great. They've been really entertaining. They've been some really fun games. So I'm here for it.
Yeah, and I do want to salute the Cavs as well. I mean, they had a very nice year, and they had really had a lot of playoff experience recently. It's good to see them playing hard and pushing for JB Bickerstaff, and a name that we both, the last name we know pretty well because we all knew Bernie Bickerstaff back in the day, and his son not doing too badly with the coaching job so far. I mean, that was a pretty well coached series on both accounts, and also your coach did well. The Celtics are in their third straight Eastern Conference Finals, and it's a very familiar spot for the Celtics, and so quite a run. We'll see who they end up facing. I mean, I can keep going on this series if you want to, but I think the bigger thing we need to talk about is Porzingis. And it sounds like he's on track to make his comeback at some point during the Eastern Conference Finals. If you were to just kind of evaluate it yourself, Chris, like how could he be there as soon as Game 1? Like, what do you think the projections are from your? How do you think the projections will go in your estimation?
I have no way of knowing. I hope it's game one, but I don't know. I feel like a calf muscle is, your that gives you all your lift, and I'd be very. I my guess he's back late, if at all, in the next series. So that's like 2 more weeks, but I don't know. I don't know anything. I don't know anything about this, the injury itself and how severe it is, um, but yeah, I just wanted to echo something else you'd said. JB Bickerstaff did a great job. He really
Mm-hmm.
did.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
so credit to him. And one other bit of gossip that came out of this series was LeBron was at game 4. Did you see that?
Was
And
he
there
really?
were yeah, and there were rumors starting to swirl that he's there to recruit Mitchell to go to Los Angeles,
Oh,
to
I
ask
heard.
for a trade to LA.
Interesting. Now
Yeah.
Mitchell did not play the game tonight, and
Nope.
neither did Garland, and neither did. So it's interesting. The
No,
Cavs have
wait,
played.
Garland did play.
Oh, Garland. I'm sorry,
Garland did
Garland
play.
played, but somebody else didn't play for them, right? Like it was.
Yeah, it was Allen and Levert.
Yeah, Levert didn't play, and so
Yeah.
that's a pretty impressive effort by the Cavs, knowing that. But I don't want to sidestep the LeBron point. That's a really good point because it was a big. It was, my notifications were definitely all over that. They were like, "Hey, could Mitchell be on the Lakers?" Yeah, that's gonna be a thing, and I don't know if it fits for this team though. Like I think Mitchell's good as like a kind of like a number 2 or even a number 1 guy, but he's gonna be like a 3 or a 4 on the Lakers. Do you think that would work?
I think he'd be great on Lakers. Oh, I mean, I'd almost hate to see it because I think they'd be excellent. I don't know. I'm just I didn't look at the numbers and like what they would have to trade in that situation, to make. I mean, I guess it would be like D'Lo and like a bunch of picks,
I
but
don't think
he'd be.
anyone would complain about trading D'Lo.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, but I'm thinking about how you make the salaries match, and then what
Yeah,
can the Lakers do to sweeten the pot, because it would be a bad contract going back.
yeah. Oh no
So
doubt about it. It's kind of a tough spot, and I think people would. I honestly do think people would give deloading another shot, but they're not gonna. they're gonna definitely ask for more from the Lakers to make that happen. So they might do it.
Yeah,
We'll see.
yeah. We'll see. I mean, the Cavs have to agree to it. I mean, um, yeah. I mean, and he hasn't even asked for a trade at this point. I don't know. Someone floated that out there though, so we'll see.
We'll see. I mean, Mitchell actually would be an interesting idea because I don't think you need a guy to be a ball distributor on the Lakers. You've already got that taken care of. So that aspect is kind of what you're looking at, right? Like, so then really what he wants to be, that guy that can get the shots. And
Yep.
I think he can do it. And further, we've seen him as a threat to get to the hoop, which is a huge thing. Kind of something the Lakers don't have enough of, honestly. So I will be fair in that area, but I just curious as to whether that might be too much star power on one team. I don't know. We'll see. But I mean, on paper, it looks like a good idea. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, yeah. We'll see. It's fun to sprinkle in a little off-season news before we even in the conference finals.
Yeah.
But that's where we are, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting how people picked that up immediately. Just seeing LeBron there, like,
Yeah.
oh, he's his old team. I'm sure there's more to it than that. Like,
Well, he was in Chicago or yesterday, I think, to watch the draft combine because Bronny was playing
Bronny.
in that. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I had a lot of rumblings from there too. I've seen my phone has been all over this. Like they don't let him. They're not gonna let me down. Da 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 da. Honestly, good for him trying. It's pretty much what most people expected. I mean, his NBA expectations can't be that great, to be honest. So I know everybody's pulling for him, but the numbers are the numbers, or what is it that Mike used to say? The results are the results, and that's why we have results.
Yeah. I don't remember that one. That's funny.
It's one of my favorite lines of his. Like it's really funny. So let's keep it rolling. So that was the Celtics series. They win in 4 games. They win 4-1, and they'll face the winner of the Knicks Pacers series, which is still in progress, as are the rest of the series in the NBA right now. So this has been a strange series. I think when we were last chatting about this series, I think the last show was a while ago, so I think it might have been before Game 2 even. So the Knicks looked really great in Games 1 and 2. They won their games fairly. They had that favorable call to win Game 1, so that was a little rough. I have to no argument about that. It could have been a completely different series if the Pacers did not get jobbed in that call there, the charging call, if you remember,
Right. Yep.
Yeah, just it's unfortunate there, but the Pacers.
And there was also a kickball call too.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So like these two things combined were just undermining them all the way to the end. So they go to Indiana, and you're like, well, if the Knicks can get one, they're gonna have the series. They had a real missed opportunity in Game 3. I mean, it was there, and they blew it. Like, it was really it was a close game, but a great game. Like, don't get me wrong, it was a great game, but the Pacers fought back and won 111 to 106. But it was an even closer game than that, actually. The Knicks had that in their hands, and they let it slip away. So that made Game 4 really odd to me. Like, why were the Knicks blown out so badly in Game 4? And a lot of speculation as that game was happening that I think we even mentioned it on this program. Like, we were talking about how the Pacers are a much deeper team, much deeper roster, more players that can score. They're younger, they're faster. Like, maybe this is finally catching up to the Knicks. But Game 5 comes around, the Knicks absolutely trashed the Pacers and gave it right back to them. So it's like, I don't know how to explain either of those games. It's just one of those deals. Like, I cannot explain why the Knicks have been in every single game like this entire playoffs, and then that game happens. It's like, what the hell happened there in Game 4? That was so strange. So, Chris, there's a lot. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Yeah, the narrative shifted in like 72 hours about 3 different times, right? It was like,
yeah,
I mean, that Game 3 was such a gut punch for Knick fans, and then Game 4, you're like, well, it'll be competitive, and then the Pacers, they just blew that game was like over before the half, and it wasn't like they pulled away late. and and then the narrative shifted again. It was like, well, the Knicks are tired. I wish Tommy were here, to be honest, but the Knicks were tired. Then, like, you know, they might lose, game five on the road. And then they blew out the Pacers. And so the whole thing was just wild and crazy twists and turns. And the Knicks have given us the best entertainment this offseason, this
Playoff season.
postseason.
Yeah, yeah,
They've been
yeah.
fantastic, and most of their games have been both series have been excellent, in my opinion, and they've been the best two series so far. So this has been a lot of fun, and I look forward to the next game.
I do too. I did not think the Pacers were going to win that game on Game 5. I just never even crossed my mind that they would win. I'm like, this is too feisty a Knick team. I know the depth. I know the momentum situation. I know that it's tied 2-2, and I'm like, their Knicks are at home. They're gonna get. I speculated on on our Discord, SFC's Discord, that they are gonna. I speculated that they're gonna get some favorable officiating. I just thought these guys are gonna be fired up. The fans are gonna be fired up. And Jalen Brunson does not back away from a big game. That's the thing with the Knicks. Like, Brunson is there. He's always coming. 44 points in Game 5 the other night. Incredible stuff. He was shooting lights out from the field, like 2 for 6 and 3, but it's really more about his overall game. Just an incredible game. And a lot of people stepped up. Hart stepped up. McBride stepped up. I mean, DiVincenzo had some key shots there somewhere in there. Although, interestingly, nothing from 3. That's interesting. I didn't even catch that. Wow. Yeah, he tends to have the launch of 3 or 2 once in a game, but not that time. But yeah, I mean, just a really strong performance. I can't, again, like, it's everything I was expecting. Alec Burks had a wild game off the bench, by the way. 18.
Yeah, he did great.
Yeah.
Yeah, he kind of saved them. From once he made some big shots.
Oh yeah, yeah. So that's pretty much what I was thinking. I'm like, the Knicks everybody's down on them. Like, they can't keep up. It's like, guys, they're going back to the Garden. Like, they're totally gonna win this game. I felt good about it. And boy, did they win this game. They won by 30 points, and sets up an amazing Game 6 coming up.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way as you. I thought the Knicks would win, but they looked so defeated, after Game 3, that I thought they would. I'm sorry, after Game 3, right?
I think it was 4 where they got blown
I,
out, right?
I mean Game 4. After Game 4,
Mm-hmm.
sorry, I got it all mixed up. Yeah, that I felt like they would win, but they just looked really beat up, and I did not anticipate a 30-point victory coming home. So, I mean, I don't know. After Game 4, I felt like, yeah, this is definitely 1-7. It just feels like it's going to go back and forth now. But who knows? I mean, maybe the Knicks are they're like wounded warriors now. They've got their backs against the wall, even though they're up 3-2. It's just with all the injuries, it really feels like they got their work cut out for them. But maybe they do steal close the deal tomorrow, or it's tomorrow, right?
It says Friday, which
it's Friday night. That's right.
Yeah.
It's Friday night. Okay, yeah, they get that extra day off. So, yeah, and then I think that has to help them as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Where do I go with Knicks Game 6? On the road. I don't know. What is your feeling? I'm gonna go with the Knicks.
This is
I'm
tough.
gonna go with the Knicks.
You like the Knicks? Okay, yeah. I mean, I this is tough. I think I remember when we started evaluating the series, I kept saying, and I have to go back. I have to go back to the tape on this. I don't remember what I said. I thought I said that the Knicks were going to win the series, but the Pacers were like the deeper team, and this might be a tough series. I think I also said it was going to go 7. So if I'm going by that, I got to think Indiana takes this game, and then we just get the epic Game 7 on Sunday, which the 3:30 start time is wild to me, because like, if you're gonna have a Game 7 in the Garden, wouldn't you want to do that at 8? But maybe that's because of the Rangers too. Maybe they're situated in the Rangers in there somewhere. But I don't know. Like, I think I'm gonna take the Pacers. But
Oh, interesting that's yeah. That's the early game. You're gonna take the Pacers? Yeah. Shoot. I mean, I probably should. I want the series to go seven. I really do because it's been so much fun. And there was crazy because in game five there was it felt like there was so much tension, Dave. It felt like something was going to break out, and then Dante and Miles Turner got locked up, and they were jawing at each other, and they had to be separated. It feels like these teams really have grown to hate each other the last week and a half. Really does. It just feels like they're not they don't like each other right now.
It's remarkable to see that. You're absolutely right. They've been getting at each other's throats recently. It's funny that this could have happened so quickly because they didn't really have a huge history with one another. But the regular season is part of that too, though, of course. So they've gotten to know each other very well in the last couple of years. So we've gotten to learn about both these teams very quickly within the course of a year, and it has truly been fun to watch. So many great names, so many great personalities, like everybody from Tyrese Halliburton and Obi Toppin, and I mean all the people on the Pacers. I don't want to leave out.
Siakam.
Yeah, Siakam, Pascal Siakam, and even Miles Turner, of course. At center, Nembrad and Nesmith. Like there's definitely a lot of people to keep track of on Indiana, and not as many people to keep track on the Knicks. But it's just kind of like these names that the unsung heroes of the NBA in a lot of ways. I mean, other than Brunson, who's an obvious all-star, like he's great. But I mean, Hart's kind of had a really great breakout series like two breakout series. Like he's been playing really well. Like this is not stuff you saw in the Pelicans or the Lakers. Like he's having a really nice year. Like it's really been impressive to see him step it up.
Yeah, those two numbers just jump out at me. The rebounds. Hart is such a good rebounder for a guard. He's amazing. He just has a nose for the ball, and he's fun as hell to watch. He's just so much fun. And Hartenstein had 17 boards. I think 12 offensive rebounds. Are you kidding me? I mean, those two guys alone are like make the Knicks fun. It's and they've really clicked. They've just it's almost as so. It's a shame Ananobi's been out because with him they feel like world beaters. I mean, like because they can shut down a player on the other team. So yeah, I don't know. I want this to go seven. That's the theme. I want this to go seven, and so I can enjoy it.
Yeah,
Let's put it that way.
I wanted to go 7-2 for similarly personal reasons. I have an easier chance of watching a game seven. I don't think I'm going to get to watch much of game five, to be honest with you. I mean, I'll have it on, but I'm not going to be paying. I may not be paying a lot of attention to it. So I'm actually hoping the Pacers win that one way or the other. I mean, I think I'll catch up on DVR though, but it'll be a very interesting game. Both of these games, if they both take place, will be really really fun. So yeah, what a series! Like, I mean, maybe not as close as the Sixers series, but how could it have been? The Sixers series, the total cumulative points was separated by 1 point. That's obviously not the case here, but still very very good series here in the Eastern Conference. So yeah, a lot of drama here coming into Friday. We'll see how it goes. Let's go to the
go
ahead.
On that note, that the actual series averages, the Knicks are 113.4 versus the Pacers 112.2. It is that close.
Oh, right, because like the blowouts balance each other out. I guess
Yeah, yeah.
what happened.
Yeah, it's been a close series.
Wow,
it really has.
Yeah, so all the more reason to tune in on Friday, everybody. If you got a TV nearby, or if you're at a bar, it should be fun. All right, let's get on to the West. And again, more juice. Like, now the Mavericks Oklahoma City Thunder series is still in progress. In fact, the game 5 is on as we speak, and it's a 2-point game after one quarter. So it's pretty much anyone's game here. This one has really surprised me because like this is the one where I thought, okay, the Mavericks had their fun. They're not that deep. They're not that good. Their defense isn't that great. The Thunder should really, really have an easy time with them, and it's really not happened, honestly. Like, every game has been back and forth here. And then I mean, after game one, you're like, well, yeah, I mean, it's easy that I was totally right. But since then, it's been tough for both teams. Like, it's been very close. The Mavericks took the next two. And then so the Thunder kind of really needed game four. In Dallas, no less. They needed that game. It was tough. They got it, 196. And now we're into another really tight one in Oklahoma City. I mean, you do have to give Dallas a lot of credit. I mean, Luka, with all the injury, with all the physical things he's been going through, and Kyrie and all the other folks on the team that have really been playing pretty well. I don't really know what the takeaway of this is. Maybe Oklahoma City is not that good, is my takeaway, but because like honestly, they were the number one seed for a lot of the year, to my understanding. But then I think about it, I'm like, okay, they're the number one seed. Who are their big players? Well, we have SGA. We all know about SGA. But then after that, I'm like, well, then what? It's like, whereas the Mavericks do have some more household names. I will admit, like, even though they may not all be in their prime, you're talking about players who have been in perennial all-stars, like at least two, right? So it's been an interesting series, and I've kind of lost track of it at certain points because I think I was bad job out of me. I did not give the Mavericks enough credit in this series. I thought this was going to be a quick series, and we are not having a quick series. They have played very well. And honestly, at a lot of points of this series, they put the Thunder on their heels, Chris. And I'd love to get your thoughts on this one, in this series.
Yeah. Couple things. One, Oklahoma City, not household names yet, but they will be. They're the youngest team in the playoffs. It's really impressive how well they've done this year. Just remarkable.
Yeah.
And yeah, in terms of Dallas, they do seem like the walking wounded at times because Luka, I mean, has not played great. I mean, and I think even every Dallas fan would tell you that. And I assume that's due to injury. But man, he the lasting image of this series for me is going to be seeing him grimacing and limping and lying on the floor. And I mean, that act wears a little thin after a while. I mean, I think he's legitimately hurt, but I definitely think he plays it up all the time. But yeah, it's been a fantastic series, and I did not see Oklahoma City winning game four on the road, and they were down early in that game. So I was totally impressed, and that was SGA's game. He just took over in the second half and dominated. It was something to watch. He made a shot over the backboard. It was crazy. But yeah, they're a fun team. This has been a fun series also. It's been really terrific.
Yeah, very much so. And if you see, I mean, I imagine you have game five up as well. I mean, it's been tight. I mean, Dallas has had the lead most of the game, but Thunder are not going away anytime soon. This will be a very interesting watch the rest of the night. And so we'll see what happens here. Predictions. I don't have one. I don't know what's going to happen. I think if the Thunder win, I mean, presumably they'll win the series. I couldn't tell you. I just, it's hard. I don't know. I mean, I'll say this: if Luka was healthy, Dallas might have a really good chance to win this series, and they still do, even as it is. But they really would have if they was healthy.
Yeah, for sure. Kyrie's been excellent though. I mean, I gotta give him credit. He's been amazing in these playoffs and has just carried the scoring load in a lot of ways. But yeah, I think Dallas is gonna win it. I really do. I just feel like they're gonna, and they currently have a 4 point. Oh, you're ahead of me. Okay, so yeah, they have a slight lead, an 8 point lead, but I just feel like they, the maturity and just some more of the veterans on the Mavs are gonna make them are gonna pull them through this series. But I agree, it feels like another 7 gamers in my opinion. What do you think?
I think it's going to depend on tonight. Because I believe if they lose, if the Mavericks were to come out here and finish this game, I think you might even be ahead of me at this point because I think you said 8 point lead, and I think they just went up eight on my screen. So, but either way, like I think if they win tonight, I would see them winning game six too. But if I don't use that logic, the paper matchups suggest this will go seven because it's not like either team is that much better than the other at this point, and the series has played out that way so far. I really do think this is impossible for me to it's impossible for me to make a prediction. Like I just don't feel confident either way with what I've seen. But you know what's interesting, Chris? I think what you have both with Kyrie and with Luka, they both have made some huge shots in huge playoff games in the past. I remember when Luka had like that. I don't know if it was a buzzer beater, but it was pretty close to that game that they played against the Clippers a few years ago in the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, that was a dagger. I remember that. So SJ can do it too, but it's just like when you have two guys that can do that, like that's when it gets really interesting for Dallas. So they came in hot. They did not look good most of the year. That last month and a half or so, man, they rode that wave and they're still riding it. And here we are, they're up 8 points with a TV timeout in the mix. Yeah, it's pretty simple, right? Like if they win this game, they're pretty much winning this series. I mean, it would take a lot for them to lose up 3-2, one of the games at home, and even if you lose it, you still get another game where you've already been playing them tough at Oklahoma City. It's like they gotta love their chances if they win tonight. We'll see.
Yeah, definitely. I just feel like Dallas is their defense improved so much after. I think they're their top ranked defense after the trade deadline, and that's when they got Gafford and PJ Washington, who's been excellent in this series.
Yeah.
I haven't watched too closely tonight. I guess he's 0 for 1 tonight, but he's been fantastic. He's been really good for them, and Gafford is such a I liked him, but he's actually better than I thought. He's been really terrific too. So
Yeah, I admit.
I
I mean,
think
he's sneaky like that,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, he's a good player.
Yeah.
I thought he was more of a backup, but he he can start and he's a good rim protector. I like watching him.
Yeah. Washington has been a great rebounder for years. Like I've seen him in fan duels, I've seen him in fantasy basketball lineups. Like he can put up a good number on the glass. Yeah, he's been very good at rebounding. So you're right. I think that's a big part of it too. He tends to go under the radar because he's primarily a defense. I mean, you don't really think of him as like a scorer, so he's more of a defensive guy. But it's a big thing for them. Like you said, they needed the help. For the Thunder, I mean, again, I don't have a lot to say. I mean, SGA is SGA. We know about Dort. We know about Giddy. There's Andrew Wiggins is on the team. Oh man, I didn't even know that. Oops. I guess he is. I guess Wiggins has had a very interesting career, but he's not doing well tonight so far. Anyway, but okay, that's as much as I will say about.
Wait, who's that?
Or maybe it's a different Maybe it's a different Wiggins. Let me see.
No, it's not Andrew Wiggins.
It's Aaron Wiggins. Okay, yeah. I was gonna say I was a little confused for a second there. Okay, so Aaron Wiggins. Never mind. No comment in that case.
Yeah, Gordon Hayward's on their bench too.
Oh, no kidding. Well, Hayward's been hurt.
I think he's the oldest player on the team.
Yeah, I mean he's hurt all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm not terribly surprised he's not. He hasn't really. I mean, he might enter the game tonight, right? Is he healthy? Like, is he good to play?
I don't even think he'll play.
Yeah, I doubt it.
This is a good example. Like, I feel like Oklahoma City should have gone out and gotten Gafford at the deadline. They needed more. They needed bigs. He was out there.
Mm-hmm.
Good. I mean, he would have been a big help for them, especially for this series, and just keep him off Dallas. I really don't understand in some ways what what they're doing in Oklahoma City because they have just a mountain of draft picks, and when they were the players were there to improve their team, and
Yeah.
they didn't pull the trigger. I mean, Hayward was their big was their big get at the deadline. So
Yeah, I mean, and if that's their big get, not much of a get. Like it's
yeah,
yeah. We've talked for years about how Hayward is kind of like can be a frustrating player to watch because like he's got the ceiling, but he just can't seem to stay on the court a lot of the time. So we'll
yeah,
see.
the injuries really finished him in
Yeah,
Boston.
yeah,
He just he was not the same player with Charlotte.
yeah, definitely, definitely. And I gave him a lot of chances too, like in FanDuel and whatever. But yeah, just he just hasn't been the same since he left Boston. So your score at the moment, Chris, what score do you have on your screen? I don't want to get ahead of you or anything.
See, the score on the screen here is ahead of mine.
Oh, it
Okay,
should
now I
be.
just
Yeah.
caught up.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
just caught up.
that makes sense.
That's why I kind of freaked out because I looked at the screen and wait, it's not even close to what I'm looking at on my TV.
My
So
mistake. Yeah.
I was about 3 baskets behind at one point.
Yeah, this is actually giving us the score of that from the arena. So yeah, this is like way ahead of us. I'm sorry. Shouldn't have. Maybe I shouldn't
That's
have put
all
that on. I shouldn't have put that on. Sorry, my bad. Okay, so now there's a basket that the Mavericks are going to make right now. I don't even see it yet. There it is.
right.
Luka just made a layup. There you go. Now we're all caught up, I think. So, um,
Oh, see, I'm even ahead of you.
so you're ahead of me, and then that score thing is ahead of both of us. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I do. But just to repeat, I think the Mavs, it's looking like the Mavs are kind of showing some swagger here too. Um, I mean, just looking at it on the screen, it's like they seem to be a bigger team. They have more length here. It'll be interesting to see if they can hold on to this though, because I know Dallas can give up big leads, but it's gonna, I gotta tell you, you know, your point, you had your gut instinct about the Mavs winning the series from here on out. It's looking pretty good, honestly. I think it's looking pretty good. I feel like it's one of those deals where like, who's coming in with a better head of steam, and it's clearly Dallas, right? So from that standpoint, I don't know if I said Oklahoma City Thunder are going to win the series or what a few minutes ago, but this might be me moving the goalpost, but I think the Mavs, but definitely what I said about like the Mavs, if they win this game, they're totally winning the rest of the series. And that's pretty much how it's laid out right now. Like, it looks great. It's still early in the game though. So I feel like if the Thunder are going to get back into this, they'll do it tonight. And we'll see. Like, I'm not putting it on. I'm not turning off the game because like I think it could happen. But man, I don't know. Like you said, I just think you've got more things happening for Dallas at the moment, right?
Yeah, I like Dallas a lot. Like I said, I think their defense really did improve like post trade deadline, and
Yeah.
it's kind of carried through now. And I think they take this series.
Yeah, for sure. So let's roll it out. One more series to cover with our friend Chris in Georgia. My name is Davey or Dave Medina. You call me Dave. You can call me Davey's eating sandwich as well. And we are heading to the final series, which has been a real mystery. So we were talking about when we were last on. We were talking about how the Timberwolves have completely dominated the Nuggets, and they did. If you look at these scores from games 1 and 2 on the screen, if those of you watching on YouTube, they absolutely killed these guys. They go to Minnesota. And I'll tell you what. I think you saw it. I don't know if you saw it. I mentioned it to a few people. I'm like, this Wolves team hasn't been tested yet. Like, what's going to happen when they finally lose a playoff game? And I just feel like people gave up on the Nuggets a little, including myself at some certain points. But as we got closer to tip off of Game 3, I'm like, who are we to say that the Wolves are going to have anything in hand here? Because the Nuggets are so experienced. I just feel like it was too soon to write them off. They've just been through too many playoffs, and I figured they'll find something to get them to win a game here. And they really did. Like, it was a disaster. That was a disaster of a game. Game 3. It says the Nuggets won 117-90, but honestly, it was even more of a blowout than that showed. Like, they were up by a ton in game 3. It was rough. It was a rough game. And so game 4 rolls around, Now I didn't get to see a lot of this one, but I understand that Carl Anthony Towns had a rough game. Like he was terrible in Game 4, and then they go to Game 5, and the Nuggets are suddenly a completely different team, and they fully shut down the Timberwolves, and they won 112-97. Chris, I've got my own thoughts on this series, but I will say I was definitely first guessing the Nuggets making a comeback here because I just thought the Wolves are riding a wave, but they've not been through stuff like this before. And I'm like, what is going to happen if they do slip? And I did think the Nuggets were capable of making them uncomfortable. They really have. Like since the start of Game 3, it's been all Nuggets. And so I'd love to get your thoughts on this series.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. The lasting image after game 2 was Murray looks really hurt. He's just kind of limping around and had a bad game and started throwing stuff onto the court. And I I think he was fine. He was not suspended. I thought he'd be suspended because he was throwing like heat packs and stuff and towels onto the court while they're playing and didn't get a suspension. And I thought for sure Denver was done. I mean, I didn't think it would be a sweep, but I thought if Murray's not healthy and can't play, then they're going to have a lot of trouble. Even as good as Jokic is. And boy, was I wrong. They came back and blew their doors up. It would be wild if they win game 6 and just pull off that 4 straight sweep after losing 2 at home. That would be something, huh, Dave?
It really would. And honestly, I actually, from what we've seen now, it's like it seems very plausible at this point. I just think it's just a case where experience is starting to really win out. But I really wanted to think about it for a second. Like, what exactly happened to the Nuggets to make them turn this thing completely around? My feeling is it happened on the defensive end. Because what happened in games 1 and 2, we were talking about the length a lot. We were talking about the size advantages for everybody on the Wolves. And they were having their way at the basket. My thinking is, just my analysis of what happened, is that the Nuggets made a commitment to guard the paint and keep people from the basket. That was their primary purpose. And they made every effort to keep people from getting to the hoop. And really, when you saw anybody try to heave a ball towards a hoop, it was not going well. And so they were forced into these long, bad shots. And the Wolves really haven't done a ton to adjust to that. And I think the Nuggets really just stepped up to a completely different level in defending the paint. And the Nuggets had been known to be a good defensive team throughout the last couple of seasons. And this is when they needed it most. They really put it together. I mean, you just got to give them so much credit for that. But what would you say was the difference in them turning the series around?
I mean, I think it's been. I love him. Aaron Gordon was sensational. Which game was that? It was game 3 or 4. I think it was game 3. He was 11 for 12 for the field. I mean, he's been outstanding and a great two-way player. You're talking about defense. He is such a good defender. They'll put him on they put him on anybody, and he's fantastic. So start there. Murray's comeback has been very good, and I say come back. He didn't get suspended. I thought he would, but he did not. So yeah, I think that's obviously been a big deal. And on Minnesota's side, Cat has been. I think he's had a miserable series, and man, Jokic in last night's game just abused Gobert. He just totally turned it on. Had a sensational second half, and man, just torched him. It was just all his pattern moves, spin moves, spin and fade away, faking the pass and then shooting. It's just he's like a magician with the ball, and so much fun to watch. And last night was something. So yeah, I mean, it's just been they've just shown how well they can play as a team, and they're really fun to watch. And I'm glad I was wrong. I really am.
It is really interesting to see the Nuggets really channel their championship medal and make this comeback. Like you said, Murray is a big reason why. Because the single theme of games 1 and 2 is that Murray was brutal. Like he couldn't get a shot off. It was sad. Like it was really you felt bad for him at the end. Like even to the point where you're talking about him throwing things on the court. Yeah, he probably should have been suspended for that. But maybe it was because the game was so out of hand, like no one was really paying attention. But beyond that, like he's really turned things around. He's really started to pick it back up. If we go to Game 5, for example, Jokic was the star in Game 5. I mean Jokic in Game 5 was unbelievable. Like what an incredible night he had. But Murray was great too. Like Murray had a solid 16-point night, and but I mean I think it's the little things with Murray when it comes to what he can do. But yeah, Game 5 was definitely Jokic's game. Like 40 points, 13 assists, 13 assists. There's been so much talked about. There's been so much spoken about how well Jokic can pass the ball. He is a brilliant passer. I mean, 13 assists for a center is amazing. Like that is just insanity. Like Magic Johnson was doing 13 assists a game. Like that's amazing stuff.
He's Magic Johnson, but he's 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible, like to see a center who's such a good passer that you can run your offense through him.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. It really is something. I imagine it was like that with like prime Bill Walton. I
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
like
That's
and I was too young to remember
very
that,
much so.
but yeah.
I was too, but I mean, but I've read so much about like he was one of the greatest passing centers in the history of the game, and everything you know about him, you would believe it. So
Yeah.
yeah, but it is vision that it's just great vision, great touch. Like Jokic had everything going, 7 rebounds. I mean, he also had 2 threes in the game. Like he just was unstoppable on that night. It was an incredible night. And I think some of the other things that happened is some of the like you mentioned Gordon. Like that's a good call. Like Gordon's been having a very nice few games as well. And KCP also picked it up. I was like, KCP was garbage in that game 1. I think. Yeah, he was not good. But that's kind of what you need. You need everybody to kind of you need everybody to contribute. It's been a really impressive turnaround for the Nuggets. I do think the defense really was setting the tone over everything else, though. But it's big. It's big. It's big. I mean, just your ability to keep the other team from having their game. They've totally done it, and now they are completely in the driver's seat for Game 6. So you look ahead, Chris. Like, how do you see it?
Yeah, I feel like first of all, Conley, I think Conley's a big key too. Like I mean,
Oh,
having him
definitely.
out for you know the last game was huge. I don't. My gut says Nuggets pull off the 4-game sweep after losing the first two. It's I just feel like the momentum is there, and they've got the Wolves on their heels right now, and you know Cat, I don't think it's 100%. And you know, Gobert got abused last night, so I don't think they have an answer for Jokic. And um, yeah, I'll go with the Nuggets. That's tomorrow night, right? The Knicks game is on Friday, but this is
Yep.
tomorrow.
Tomorrow
Okay.
night on ESPN, 8:30 Eastern. I'm with you. I think this is the Nuggets series to lose. I mean, and it's pretty much up to them. I feel like they've got this. Like, I, it's kind of disappointing in one regard because like that would have been one of the biggest upsets in NBA history had they lost to the Wolves, and they still could. I'm not saying they won't, but had they lost like in 5, like that would have been one of the biggest upsets in the history of the sport. Like it would have been ridiculous. So it just goes to show you just how much we sometimes, I mean, how quickly things can change in the NBA. And I think that's why we always favor teams with experience. We favor teams that have been there before. We favor teams that have had players that have played all these games because they go through things like that. They've been through that. They know how to react when they get a setback. And meanwhile, when you have a team that's barely just starting out and they're having a great year, like no matter what happens the rest of the series, the Wolves are going to will have ended with a very great season. But there's something to be said for what do you do when you're experiencing something like this for the first time, and they really are. And Towns is you're right about Towns. Like Towns is bad. Towns is not doing well. Like, and that's just bummer because like he seems to have his heart in the right place, but no, he's. I'm gonna go through these box scores. I don't think Towns has had a good game in this series yet. I'm thinking about it. Let's see. Well, maybe he did in games 1 and 2. Sorry, but since game 2, then I
Yeah,
mean,
he's
mm,
good for like several just boneheaded plays every game.
right, right, yeah, that's his mo. You're right. So these kind of foibles are gonna eat you up eventually, and it's already happening, and I think it's just gonna continue. One other thing, I do think I've long felt like the Nuggets coach. I think his name is Mike Malone. I've just got to double check that, but stupid. I don't
Like
know this.
Malone.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Um, I feel like such a dork sometimes, not forgetting stuff like that.
Oh,
But
that's fine.
yeah, but he's a great coach. Like
I have those moments.
he is a great coach, and I tell you, coming out of that and coming out ahead at the end of all that, I mean that's impressive. That's an impressive coaching job. Like you got to really will your troops when you're down 0-2 in the series, going to the other team's court, and that is an impressive prep job. That's impressive motivation job. Like to be able to get your team to be in the game after that. Big time props to Mike Malone so far in the series. Like just impressive stuff.
Yeah, and he's been very, very vocal with the refs. I mean, to the point where he did get a technical. I think it was in not last night's game. I think it was in game 4. I think he got a technical, but he's been really jawing at the refs and complaining about just the physicality that Minnesota's been been playing on defense. I think but I do agree. I think he's an excellent coach, and he's been been great in this series. And he like you said, that how do you how do you motivate your team? What is he saying, like, to get them fired up? To we just lost 2 at home, but this series isn't over. How do you make that, flip that switch and get everyone, fired up? I don't know, but something's clicked with them again. And yeah, really fun. I've admired the Nuggets for a few years. I just enjoy watching them play. So I'm glad that they will move on. Timberwolves are great too, but they're more of a defensive team, and Ant's a joy to watch. I mean, we've talked about it on the show a bunch of times now.
Mm-hmm.
But I really I love watching Jokic, and
Yeah.
Jokic and Murray as a combo is really special.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And in it's and many great moments are in store for Ants and for the Wolves going forward. It shall be a great decade for them. So this is just one chapter in the journey, and it feels pretty evident that the Nuggets will win. I mean, not a guarantee, like I said. We never know. Like, who knows? Like maybe Jokic will throw a ball in the stands and get ejected in a game. You never know what could happen in a game like that. But at least from what we see, it looks like they're in a very good position here, and I think it's going to be a really fun time. So yeah, that's the latest. We can't really make predictions as to the conference finals, even though it seems like you're going to have the Nuggets meeting the Mavericks, but we don't know that. It would be a good series if that happened, though.
Yeah, I think the conference finals are going to be great. I think on both sides.
Yeah.
I really do. I think they're going to be both competitive. Um, so looking forward to it. Yeah, I think we both like Denver and Dallas, and then in the East, obviously Boston, but I think we both picked the Knicks, right?
Yeah, yeah. I
I think I
think
picked him in 6, you went in 7, if I remember correctly.
yeah, that's how I have it. Yeah, I think it'll be yeah, that's exactly that's on the nose. It's on the nose. So we'll go back to here for a second, but yeah, I think the Knicks will find a way out. Um, I think for the purpose of juice, we want the Knicks to win that series, right? Like that's kind of what we want to happen. So we're rooting for a little bit with our hearts. Like we kind of want the Knicks to win just for the juice of it. Like how exciting it would be, how crazy the fans are going to be, things like that. And also like the idea of a Knicks Celtics Eastern Conference Finals has got to be unbelievable. Like NBA executives must be so happy at that idea. Like, boy, that's going to be some good juice, good TV ratings too.
Yeah, and one thing I've always said about this Knicks Celtics thing, like it's never in my lifetime, it's never been like this intense rivalry. Like, Celtics fans would tell you the Sixers are a bigger,
Yep.
rival in the East.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
absolutely, absolutely.
even now, like you would feel like, okay, Miami and Boston, it feels like they've had a rivalry like the last 5 years. But the Knicks and Celtics, they haven't had, like you said, I, a meeting like this in the conference finals where it feels like yeah, it could be, such a great series, and really maybe start a new rivalry. I will have to say I'm gonna have to stay away from like Discord if I might have to take a break with all our Nick
That's
fan
fair.
friends there.
It is
Uh,
gonna be, yeah.
they're great guys though, and they're really good fans, and I actually like this Knicks team. I've said it before. I really like them. They're very fun to watch. Uh, we talked about Brunson, man. I can't believe how many shots he makes that are contested, like mid-range, just turnaround jumper where he's got a hand in his face, and he just drains it. He's incredible. He's a remarkable player.
Yeah, very much.
So
Oh, there's no doubt. And just guys just stay on the Celtics for a little bit. I don't know if you're on the Celtics or the Knicks specifically, but for the Celtics, like they have had some guys, there's no Porzingis, right? But Derek White's has been having a really great playoffs too. Like you got to give a lot of credit there. And it's really interesting to see how different people have stepped up with each game. Like the Celtics are unique in that way where they have a really quite a good roster where they're any of like 3 or 4 different players could be having a great night. It's pretty neat to see that.
that's the beauty of basketball, in my opinion. It's like you have those, when you watch a series, you remember it almost like, oh yeah, that was the Derek White game where he hit like 6 threes,
Yeah.
or that was, like you have those memories, and it helps you to reconstruct the series in a lot of ways. Um, but yeah, this Boston team in particular is pretty special in that, when Porzingis is healthy, they can, anybody can really, um, of that starting unit can like pick up the scoring slack, or just, they can all score. And so it's um it's fun. It's fun. I'm really enjoying this season a lot, and I hope it continues.
Yeah, it's a big point though because Tatum is such a great sharer of the ball on top of like all the things he can do on offense and defense. Like he's had some monster scoring games, he's had some monster rebounding games, but tonight he flirted with a triple double in their closing game against the Cavs. So the only thing that's really eluding this team right now is a championship. And they've had a lot of shots at it. They had the finals against the Warriors not too long ago, just a couple of years ago. And they've had they kept getting beaten by the Heat. So they've overcome that hurdle. Like the Heat are no longer in the mix. They took care of them. So the people at TNT, the TNT inside the NBA studio crew, speculated that this is their best shot to win a title with this group. And I think the way it looks right now, it pretty much is. Like if you think about who's left ahead of them. So they're either going to play the Knicks or the Pacers. If they play the Pacers, like the Celtics can handle the Pacers. The Pacers defense is not on the same level as the Knicks, in my opinion. So I think the Pacers defense is better than it was when the year began because of the trade for Siakam, no doubt. But it's still, I think, an edge. I think the Celtics would have, right? Like, wouldn't you put that on Boston to out defend Indiana? So let's just get that out of the way. So it's them, it's the Knicks, and it's either going to be the Mavericks or the Nuggets on the other side in the Western Conference. Obviously, the Celtics have the length to just keep to stay, to keep up with the Nuggets. So it's really just going to be a matter of what the guard play gives you, and that could go either way. I mean, I feel like it's going to be really, really interesting. They've got a real shot at this, don't you think?
I hope so, but I, we've totally written off the Wolves and the Thunder at this point. How crazy it would be if we're completely wrong. And it's in the conference finals in the West. We got Oklahoma City and Minnesota.
It's
After we just
possible. And I certainly think Oklahoma City of the two probably is the more likely of the comebacks, right?
yeah
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, if we go back to the score, you can see on YouTube, it's 54-44. It's not that huge a lead, really.
yeah.
So maybe. So these are the teams that could face, and you're right, a good point. We should consider the Thunder in this too. So it's definitely a thing. Now, if you ask me, who's the team that out of who's left over is going to win the title? I'm probably going to say the Nuggets. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you don't go through things like that and not win. I mean, I don't know anybody. Let me put it this way: I don't know anybody else in the field that would have gone down 0-2 like that and come back and had a lead in the series. Nobody else would have done that in the NBA. Of who's left over in this field, like the Cavs definitely wouldn't have. I think the Celtics probably wouldn't have. Like they might have made forced it. Maybe they would have forced a game 7 or something, or maybe they would have tied it. Let's say
they were down 0-3 last year, and they forced a game 7.
right. So Celtics definitely have the capability of that. But did they have that going into another team's court though? Were they down 0-2 going to somebody else's court? That's what I don't remember. I don't know. But what an interesting
Last year?
Yeah, last year.
Yeah, last year they were 0-3.
Oh, they were 0-3 at that point. Oh shit.
yeah, they were 0-3.
Yeah. Okay,
they,
that's pretty rough. Yeah.
they won the next 3. But they to answer your question, they did go into Miami down 0-2. I think maybe that's what you're asking.
Oh yeah. That was a question. So that was a remarkable rally, and I think I remember that game 7. Yeah, and it was an interesting.
That was the one Tatum got hurt like in the first minute of the game, and he could barely run.
It's a very interesting situation, but it is rather interesting to see what's left over. I would not rule out either the Mavs or the Thunder to win the West either. Especially if the Thunder rallied tonight, I think that could change things for sure. If you see on the screen, on the ESPN screen, it says Thunder are 33-8 at home. Not very much significant, I'm sure. And if they do come back, it would change everything. So stay tuned. It's not over yet. So we'll leave you at that. Chris, let me give it to you for. If you want to get into, is there anything else you wanted to get into tonight before we wrap things up and do our final thoughts?
No, that's totally cool. No, I've enjoyed this talking to you again.
Okay.
It's good to chat basketball.
Yeah.
And the playoffs have been I think they've been highly entertaining.
Yeah.
I'm even this game I probably wrote off Oklahoma City too soon. I think they can totally come back. So no other thoughts. I've enjoyed this and look forward to chatting with you more. And hopefully Tommy's can come on with us because because he brings the juice also. So it would be fun to have, a Nick fan voice on here and and get his thoughts.
I love it. I think I received a link from you. Should we get to this? I could get into this.
It was just a video. It was a funny video on Twitter of a Celtics fan.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Well, let's see if I can get this. I don't know if these links work for me anymore because I don't have an account up there anymore. We'll have to see.
It probably will.
Yeah, I got it. Okay. Let's
Okay.
go. That's a Celtic fan? Wait.
Yeah, he's got a Derek White T-shirt.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh my gosh! If you
It's
go,
my favorite thing.
our friend is fired up here. Look at that. That's fun. Thanks for sending that. That was really funny.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh
That's
my
my final thought.
Okay. It's a good one to end on. Well, congrats to big kudos to the Celtics for getting through there. As a Laker fan, I can respect that. We'll see how it goes the rest of the way. I mean, not surprisingly, if the Knicks advance, I will be rooting for them in the next round. It's not much, hardly a big,
Okay.
hardly a
All
bold
good.
prediction. But it'll be a really good series, though. And honestly, I would certainly not hate. I don't hate either team here. Like the Celtics are one of the most likable Celtic teams I've ever seen in my life. So I can always appreciate good basketball.
Sure.
Yeah. Like big time props to them though. Like, it's not easy to make it this far all the time. And they've done a really good job. And I think there's a lot of teams that could just let down and what have you and lose a series early. But not the case here. So we'll see. It's going to be whatever happens in the Knicks series. It's going to be a really good matchup. Whoever comes out of there, right? Like it should be a really fun East final.
Yeah, I agree. I'm kind of scared to face the Knicks. I'll put it up there.
I understand that though because they're grinders. They're gamers. Like these guys have been. Like you can't count them out. I mean, they also can't put a team away, but it works both ways. They've been really tough to beat, and so it's been.
Just their rebounding ability alone terrifies me because
Yeah.
they get so many second opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't have to be incredible on offense because they have a knack of getting those offensive boards and getting, they terrify me.
Oh, I hear it. I hear it. So next week's show is going to be really fun, and as you mentioned, hopefully Tommy can join us for that one. But Chris, I appreciate it. It's been fun to do this again, and thanks for hanging out with all of us here. I want to salute everybody in the YouTube that have been watching as well. We're glad to have you here, joining us, popping in and out to catch our coverage of this NBA playoffs. And like you said, Chris, it's been a very good playoffs this year. Like there has not been a series in this round where I've been like, oh, this is a run. Like this is, well, it was there. I thought there was going to be one, but then what Mavericks ended up playing so much better than I expected. So either way, it's been great. And wishing you well. Have a good rest of your week, and hopefully we can do it again next week.
Thanks so much for having me, Dave. Enjoyed talking to you.
Likewise. Take care, my friend. It's good to see you, Chris. Love it. Chris in Georgia, friends. What a fun time. What a fun time. And now we've been talking basketball on the Sandwich Corner for probably about 5 years. Maybe at least definitely 4. And it has been really great to get into all these games again. So thank you all for tuning in. If you missed any parts of this program, you actually can rewind even as we're doing the show when we do the Sandwich Corner. So if you want to catch like some of the other stuff we were getting into that was earlier earlier in our video, just rewind it. You can do it right now. But if you want to hear this again in audio form, you can find us, The Sandwich Corner, on all podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple Music, and all the other available services. And on our main show, The Sandwich Show on Twitch, we are live streaming a lot of fun things. Join us on Friday night as we bring to you Karaoke Night Volume 19. It'll be me and a bunch of my buddies from who are Twitch streamers and also Twitch community members and mods and people like that will be joining in. You don't want to miss it. More details on Instagram, davieseatingasandwich.com. And you'll catch us on Twitch Friday night between 9 and midnight Eastern Time. May the 17th. It should be really, really fun stuff. So if you want to catch me everywhere else, you can find me, Davey's Eating a Sandwich, on TikTok and here on YouTube or on Instagram. And then, of course, on Twitch, I'm at Davey's Eating a Sandwich there, too. So, good night, everybody. Thank you so much. I'm Dave Medina. As mentioned, you know me as Davey is Eating a Sandwich all over the place. Have a great rest of your night. Hope you enjoyed this basketball conversation. We're back next week on this podcast, on the Sandwich Corner, with 2 shows. We'll have a PGA recap show, so we'll talk about championship golf on the pro golf level. And then more NBA talk with Chris and hopefully Tommy as well. So, it's been grand. Y'all are great. If you missed any part of it, once again, you can go find the replays here on YouTube or on your podcast players of choice. And don't forget to subscribe and like this video too if you've enjoyed this program tonight. Good night, everybody, for now, and we'll see you next time.